$80,000. That's the cheapest house on this list, and it's not a shed. It's a place with a roof, walls, and a view of the harbour, in Canadian dollars, in 2026. I know that sounds insane. It's not. Every one of these 8 houses sits in Nova Scotia, the long, thin province hanging off the east coast of Canada, with 13,300 kilometres of coastline, more shore than you could walk in a lifetime. Not one of these houses is more than an hour from the sea. Keep that number in your head, 13,300 kilometres, because we'll come back to it at the end. And these aren't ghost houses at the end of some washed-out road. They're real listings, with a street address, with the price right there in black and white, online, according to Realtor.ca as of this year. So before the listings show you only the kitchen island and the stage sofa, hit subscribe and come down this list with me. Today I'll show you 8 houses where the price tag just doesn't make any sense, and one honest reason behind every single one of them. Here's the deal. We're counting down from 8 to 1, and with every step the price drops and the catch gets a little more interesting. The cheapest one, number 1, is a house for the price of a used car, but it comes last because the reason it's that cheap is the best story of the lot. Number 8, Discus, out on Isle Madame, down in Cape Breton, $99,900. That's a detached house, your own 4 walls, nobody sharing them. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, sitting on 2 full acres, and the front of it looks straight out over the lake. According to Realtor.ca, that's the asking price. 2 acres of lakefront in this province usually means a cottage that a dentist drives up to on long weekends. Here it's the whole house, year-round, for under $100,000. So where's the catch? The catch is the map. Discus is a little Acadian fishing village on Isle Madame, an island off an island reached by a causeway across the strait. A few hundred people live there year-round. The nearest real hospital is a long drive over that causeway, and there's no bus coming to get you. Out here a car isn't a convenience, it's a lung. In the summer it's the prettiest place you've ever seen, with the boats coming in and the church bell carrying across the water. In February, when the wind comes off that lake and the ice closes in, you'll learn what heating an old 2-bedroom on the waterfront actually costs, and the oil truck does not take a viewer's payment. The lake that sells the house is the same lake that bills you all winter, and that's the gentle version. The next one is older than Canada itself, and it needs more than a paint job. It needs a believer. Number 7, Mill Village, on the South Shore, inland from Liverpool. $99,900 again, and this one comes with a date attached. According to the listing, it's a historic home, the kind they believe goes back to the early 1800s. Older than the country it stands in. Tall ceilings, the bones of a house they don't frame anymore, sitting in a quiet village where the river used to turn the mill that gave the place its name. But the word doing the heavy lifting in that listing is project. This isn't move in, hang your coat, put the kettle on. A house from the early 1800s has been settling for 200 years, and somewhere in there is wiring nobody trusts, plaster that crumbles when you look at it, and a foundation somebody's going to have to crawl under with a flashlight and a sinking feeling. The $99,900 is the easy part. That's the cover charge. What you spend after that is the real number, and the listing very politely does not mention it. A new roof alone can run you tens of thousands out here, and an old house always needs the roof. You're not buying a house in Mill Village, you're buying a second job and it pays you in heartache before it pays you in equity. If old bones scare you, the next one's the opposite. Somebody already did the hard work. The question is what they left undone. Number 6, Tiverton, out on Long Island down at the tip of Digby Neck. $99,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a real family-sized house, not a starter box. And according to Realtor.ca, it's already seen renovation work through 2024 and 2025. So somebody's already swung the hammer. You're not starting from a gutted shell. For under $100,000 with 3 beds and 2 baths and fresh work inside, on paper, this is the steal of the list. On paper. Long Island is reached by a little cable ferry that pulls itself across a narrow gut of water, and to leave the island you wait for that ferry, in the rain, in the fog, on its schedule and not yours. 2 ferries actually, if you're coming from the mainland, one to Long Island, then another off the end of it. It's whale-watching country, world famous for it, where the right whales feed in the bay, which is wonderful for 3 months and very quiet for 9. The work that's been done inside is real, and 3 beds and 2 baths under $100,000 is no small thing. But the work the weather hands you out there, every single year, never stops. Salt eats paint, fog rots wood, and the wind off the open Atlantic finds every loose shingle. Cheap to buy is not the same as cheap to live. Now we drop below 99 and the houses start telling on themselves. The next one calls itself a fixer-upper right in the listing. Number 5. Middle West Pubnico, down on the far southwest shore. $98,000, and the listing is honest with you for once. It says fixer-upper, plain as that. But here's what you're fixing up. A house with harbour views, in the oldest Acadian village still standing in this part of the world, where the same families have hauled lobster out of that water for 300 years. The harbour you're looking at from the window is a working harbour, not a postcard. The honest part is the word fixer. Some of these houses need a kitchen, some need a roof, some need everything but the view. And the southwest shore is a long way from anywhere. The drive to a major hospital is measured in hours, not minutes, and when the fog rolls in off the Atlantic it doesn't ask permission. You're buying a window onto a working harbour. You're also buying every storm that harbour catches first. That's the trade, and at 98,000 plenty of folks are taking it. Speaking of the city emptying out, this next house went up before cars, before power lines, before half the towns on this list had a name. Number 4. Meteghan Station, on the French shore, along St Mary's Bay. $97,000. This one's a 2-storey, and according to the listing it was built in 1890. A proper old house, the kind with a staircase that's carried 6 generations up to bed. The French shore here is one long ribbon of Acadian villages strung down the coast, church steeples you can see from miles off, and houses like this one standing among them, waiting. Waiting is the word. It's a fixer-upper, and a house from 1890 is a fixer-upper with stories, and with knob and tube wiring, with windows that leak heat, with a furnace older than the people selling it. You don't renovate a house like this. You restore it slowly, room by room, while the oil bill teaches you what an 1890 house thinks of a Nova Scotia January. The price gets you in the door. The door is 200 years old and doesn't quite shut. You think that's a lot of house for the money? Hold on. The next one has 5 bedrooms, and it's cheaper. Number 3. Deerfield, inland from Yarmouth, down in the southwest corner. $89,900, 5 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Read that again. 5 bedrooms, in one house, for under $90,000, according to Realtor.ca. In most of this country, $89,900 doesn't buy you a parking spot. Here it buys you a house big enough for a whole family, with room left over for the ones who visit. And 1 bathroom. 5 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. That ratio tells you exactly when this house was built and exactly what nobody's gotten around to fixing. Picture 5 kids and 1 door with a lock on it. That was normal once out here. Deerfield is rural Yarmouth County, down in the far southwest, where the mills and the fish plants that used to keep the lights on have been closing for a generation, one after another. The house is empty because the work that filled it left first. The people followed the jobs west, the way they always do, and the rooms stayed behind. You can buy the house cheap. You can't buy back the cannery, the mill, or the main street they kept busy. That's why it's $89,900 and not $300,000. We've got 2 left, and both are out on the eastern shore where the land runs out into the open Atlantic. The next one looks at the water that made it and broke it. Number 2, Canso, away out at the far eastern tip of the mainland. $85,000, and this house has a harbour view that people pay $500,000 for 2 hours up the coast. Canso is one of the oldest seaports in North America. Boats were working out of here 400 years ago, long before there was a Canada to fly a flag over. Stand at this house and you're looking at water that's been feeding people since before the listings, before the agents, before any of it. So why is it $85,000? Because the fish that built Canso are mostly gone, and when the fish go, the cannery goes, and when the cannery goes, the young people go, and the town keeps shrinking year on year. It's emptying as we speak. A place that once held a couple of thousand souls is down to a few hundred now, and the school gets quieter every September. The road in is long, it's the very end of the line, a drive down a peninsula that ends at the water. The winters are hard and the nearest big hospital is a serious drive on a bad night. The kind of drive you don't want to make in a storm. The view is free. Everything behind the view is the catch. $85,000 buys you the most beautiful problem on this list. And now, the one you came for. The cheapest house in the whole province for the price of a used car. And the reason why is the quietest story of them all. Number 1. Guysborough, at the head of Chedabucto Bay, on the road to nowhere and proud of it. $80,000. That's it. $80,000, a house, in town, with a roof and a yard, for less than a lot of people owe on a pickup truck. According to Realtor.ca, that's the asking price, and it is the cheapest real house on this entire list. Guysborough is a postcard of a village. White clapboard, a tidy main street, the bay laid out flat in front of it like glass on a calm morning. So here's the why, and it's the simplest one yet. Guysborough County is one of the most rural, most far-flung corners of the whole province. The hospital is small, the specialists are hours away, there's no train, no bus you'd want to count on, and the young people who grew up here mostly drove west for work and didn't come back. The house isn't cheap because something's wrong with the house. It's cheap because the world drove past the town and kept going. $80,000 isn't a bargain. It's a measurement of how far you have to go before land stops costing anything at all. And that's the thing about every house on this list, and the thing the stage photos will never show you. None of these are cheap by accident. $80,000, $85,000, $89,900. Those aren't deals somebody forgot to cancel. Every one of them is a number with a reason. A ferry, a furnace, a hospital too far off, a fish plant that closed before you were born. The price is the town telling you the truth the listing won't. And along all 13,300 kilometres of this coastline, there are villages full of houses just like these, waiting on somebody who reads the catch and decides it's worth it anyway. The numbers are public. You can check every one of them yourself. The street and the price, right there on Realtor.ca. What the listings show you isn't the whole country. There's a way out there, on a quiet bay, for the price of a used car, and folks are already taking it. So go see it with your own eyes and come back and tell me about it. I've got a lot more of this coast left to show you, and I'll see you down the road.